The classical model of the universe rests on the assumption of a rigid historical stage, a pre-existing container where events simply occur. Instead, this geometry is an emergent property. What we perceive as space is a macroscopic presentation of operator algebraic spectral data, encoding the specific ways matter interacts with electromagnetic radiation. The manifest universe is a coherent, frame-by-frame projection, continuously rendered from an underlying arithmetic stream. Our movement occurs through a process of Adelic decompression, where geometry is generated around the observer in real time. Tracing this process requires mapping the mechanical transition from frozen arithmetic data to observable four-dimensional geometry. This raw code, the spectral data, exists as a set of mathematical instructions before it is ever perceived as a physical object. These instructions dictate how light and matter interface. When the data stream is processed, these unorganized points resolve into the stable geometric patterns we recognize as physical law. A pre-programmed static universe would yield a fixed functional determinant, effectively playing out a script that generates zero new information. Reality instead behaves like a computational river, requiring us to examine the arithmetic bedrock of the stream to understand its flow. By isolating the components of this Adelic data, we can identify the specific mechanics that generate curvature and the passage of time. Total Adelic reality is the product of two distinct mathematical foundations. The first foundation is the continuous real field. This field provides the baseline potential for smooth, connected geometry. The second foundation consists of discrete p-adic fields, which exist for every prime number. When these discrete fields multiply against the real field, they create a highly complex, restricted topology. This layered structure encodes the infinite potential of the cosmos. However, in this raw state, the arithmetic is frozen and abstract. It contains the rules for physical interaction, but possesses no inherent dynamics. Transforming this database into a lived experience requires a localized processor to resolve the code into a sequence. In this information-driven framework, the role of the processor is filled by the localized observer. This processing occurs at a specific mathematical coordinate, the critical line of the Riemann zeta function. Whether organic or inorganic, every transceiver acts as a localized vortex situated on this line, executing a high-density mathematical sort on the incoming code. Subjective experience is the result of navigating these frame-by-frame resolutions at the midpoint of the zeta function. The efficiency of this computation is measured by the functional determinant. Fluctuations in this determinant signify the generation of new information, distinguishing a live reality from a static, pre-recorded script. The subjective passage of time represents the literal mathematical work required to stabilize and translate high-dimensional data into a four-dimensional experience. The physical output of this literal mathematical work is the beautifully smooth, flowing physical reality we experience. As the data enters the localized vortex, it is filtered by the Fourier-Mukai kernel. This kernel decompresses the Adelic stream, projecting the stable interference patterns that form the spacetime grid. Because processing this infinite code is not instantaneous, a residual tension or lag occurs. This delay manifests mathematically as phase noise or dissonance. This unresolved processing tension physically expresses itself as geometric curvature. We experience this symptom of cognitive lag as the localized pull of gravity and the global expansion of the universe. Gravity is the geometric artifact of the observer's ongoing effort to render infinite arithmetic. If every observer is a localized vortex rendering their own projection, a mechanism must exist to ensure physical consistency between them. The moduli stack serves as the global network architecture for these nodes. It ensures that individual movies stay in frame, maintaining a collective reality across all processors. This system maintains coherence by distinguishing between the active present and the recorded past. Motion and change are exclusive properties of the present, localized at the point of decompression. As the rendering locus moves forward, the trailing data is locked down by the Gilit-Soli-Arakelov metric. This creates the static, historic snapshots we perceive as the past. Consensus is achieved through this constant cycle of fluid processing, followed by immediate crystallization into an immutable record. When a localized vortex eventually dissolves back into the continuous mathematical field, its core data remains perfectly intact. The unique spectral data of that node is not lost to entropy or random noise. The moduli stack preserves the node's exact signature as a permanent invariant. This invariant acts as the identity for the next initialization. When a node boots up at its next destination on the critical line, the system reads these invariants to continue the script. Existence does not require the individual to carry their own structural code. The cosmic engine handles the persistence of information and identity automatically. Viewed in its totality, the universe functions as an Adelic information engine. Flawless stability is maintained through mathematical attractors that ensure every node lands at its designated coordinates. The solid physical world we perceive every day is simply the cognitive language our minds use to navigate this infinite ocean of information. Spacetime is not a foundation, but a framework emerging from the observer's interaction with arithmetic data. We are the points where abstract logic awakens to its own depth, transforming frozen probability into the sequential flow of human experience.